So basically the taxi cartel doesn't like this new innovative technology, these peer-to-peer ride-sharing programs where someone can just hop in their car, pick you up, really low cost, totally innovative and efficient, and less expensive than taxi cartel. And I call them the taxi cartel because they leverage the monopoly of violence that the government enjoys in order to kick out competition.
Yes.
This is as old as time, and there's always been mafias and people that want to leverage government to benefit themselves at the expense of everyone else, because government is such a parasitic, terrible, terrible idea that when people come in and screw things up or use greed to leverage this institution, everybody hurts as a result of it. Well, things are a little more sophisticated than the old mafia days. So, and the taxi cartel actually has a lot of mafia ties, like literally. And the government is like the mafia, but it's worse because at least with the mafia, you know that's illegitimate and criminal, but everyone seems to think government is just fine and dandy. But these days, instead of coming straight to your business and saying, hey, we're here with the mafia, you're going to pay us protection, and we're going to rough you up. They come up to these ride-sharing guys, and they say, hey, we're with the taxi cartel. We don't like you coming in and competing with us. You know what we're going to do about it? We're going to run to Ann Kitchen, council member, District 4. And she's going to do the violence for us. So there's all these progressives that are against Proposition 1, which would go back to older regulations that are pretty fair and closer to free market than the current ones. And they would, there's a lot of progressives that are saying, well, we don't want a corporation to come in and spend a bunch of money and buy the election and use their money to leverage public policy. And it's like, that's exactly what happened with the taxi cartel. Why are you blind from that? Because Uber and Lyft are spending more money, man. Well, good for them. I'm glad they have a lot of money to spend. Send some my way. We'll help promote it.
Yeah.
So that's the taxi cartel Uber thing. Vote for Prop 1. Another great hit's like, it's beginning to look a lot like a police state. Everywhere on YouTube. Bearcat tanks on the street, and police dogs at your feet, and your constitutional rights are so discreet. Get the CD with Bitcoin. Check it out.
Yeah.
GraveNewBookstore.com. It's not really there, but go to the website anyway. Oh yeah, Shady the Clown, of course. So Shady the Clown's running, and she's backed by the taxi cartel. She called the fluoride people gadflies, and was quoted as that in the paper. Like, oh, of course the gadflies were there for citizens' communication. It's like, that's rude. She would never listen to the people that talk about fluoride or anything important for that matter, because all the important stuff is like weird and kooky in city government. So she was up for re-election, and I didn't like her because the fluoride thing and all the other stuff. And she was a low-hanging fruit. So I decided that day that rather than help with the campaign for someone, I wanted to run a campaign against that woman. Kathy Tobo was who she was running against, and Kathy Tobo is a big progressive socialist who favors all the same policies that Laura Morrison did before, and all the do-good socialists that if they like passed a $15 minimum wage would put my company, Brave New Books, out of business. They don't, they're like, it's for the little guy. It's like, I'm the little guy, man. I'm struggling. Wait a second, I can afford $50. I wish I could pay myself $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Shit. Give me some of your money, Randy and Laura. So she's running, and I think, what can we do? I'm reading Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And it's like, pick a target, personalize it, freeze it, polarize it. And it's also like ridicule is man's most potent weapon.
That's right.
So we come up with this yard sign that looks exactly like her yard sign. And instead of saying Randy Shade, different like Austin, it says Shady the Clown. And she looks like a clown. And it says like all our councils are controlled by us or something. And she looks real evil, and her eyes are like slanted down. And then we made another one. Her catchphrase was different like Austin, so we made another one. Shady the Tyrant, corrupt just like Washington. And we put them all up over town, especially the Shady the Clown ones. We put them next to her sign. And all of a sudden they started disappearing.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? So we had a witness see Randy Shade herself, the candidate, steal one. So I was like, man, what do we do? How can we polarize this even more? So I filed a police report that my property was stolen and wrote a press release about it in one news article. One news headline picked it up. They like piggybacked it on another story of how she was having an ethics violation against it. And then said, and also she's accused of stealing political signs. And then this jerk off, Michael King, maybe it was Michael King from the Chronicle or another one of his subhuman progressives, they just don't like liberty. And they don't like TAG, Texans for Accountable Government, the local liberty crowd. In fact, Wells Dunbar, who used to write the local beat, the first time they ever mentioned TAG was in association with Carol Keaton Strayhorn, Rylander, Shylander, whatever her last name is. And TAG was supporting her because she was like the populist that was running for mayor and she was against the growth machine. And the Chronicle ran an article, Politics Makes for Strange Bedfellows, and they're hanging around with Texans for Accountable Government, a faux organization of loony libertarians and conspiracists.
Oh.
So it's cool when it goes full circle, and nowadays Don Zimmerman is in every single city, every single Austin Chronicle for one thing or another.
Yeah.
And Texans for Accountable Government, from Don's own mouth, was responsible in large part for putting him in, getting him into the runoff, and going that extra mile because he won by just a handful of votes. So that always makes me feel good, like, oh yeah, faux organization, huh? Well, how about that? But they tried to say that, like, Texans for Accountable Government, they associated with TAG, because I was the executive director. I don't know how they made that leap. But it wasn't TAG, because that's a political action committee. It was me, sovereign man. And the Texas Election Code says that you have to put a political disclosure statement if you engage in express advocacy, which is advocating for someone or against someone, or for something or against something. Vote for Randy Shade, vote against Randy Shade. Proposition 2, we support Proposition 2. That's express advocacy, you gotta put a political statement. But Shady the Clown, and you know, all our councils belong to us, Shady the Tyrant, there's no express advocacy. So we didn't have a sign, but the Austin Chronicle accused us of breaking the law.
Good.
But I read the law, we didn't break it! So, that's the story.
Breaking the law.
I'll grab the sign on the way out, you'll see it.
Cool.
Alright, thanks. Conspiracy Comedy Night!